it going? Thank you for clicking on this video, and if you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. I have a motherhood channel where I talk about my life as a military mom and all motherhood things. So I welcome you. I'm excited if you join my YouTube family. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about natural birth postpartum tips. I've never experienced a C-section. Currently, I'm pregnant with twins, so that's a high possibility that I'll experience a C-section, but I don't know yet. But I have experienced natural birth with no drugs, and it was a home birth as well. So I had a midwife. These tips are strictly my opinion. They are based on my experience of a home birth with no drugs and a vaginal delivery. Some of these go till 6 weeks. Some of these go further. Disclaimer, this is my opinion. This is from my experience, and obviously your experience is going to be different than my experience. Let me know if you've tried any of these and if they worked for you. Sorry about the tweeting. I have my bird. He's angry that I'm being loud because it's late and he wants to sleep. So number one is something that I found extremely important: mermaid position. So you want to stay in the mermaid position after you give natural birth. Mermaid position is when you're laying on the bed, your feet are out in front of you like a mermaid would be with her tail. You don't want to bend your legs or sleep on your belly or sleep on your side with your legs bent, or you don't want to open your pelvis sitting cross-legged or anything like that. You want to keep your legs straight. And the reason is you just went through a trauma of your pelvis and your lady bits, so you don't want to be in a different position because you can increase bleeding and soreness and swelling. So I thought this was kind of like a joke. I was like, oh yeah. And then I fell asleep on my side with my legs kind of bent. They were still together, but they were bent. And I woke up and I was really swollen and in a lot of pain. I really recommend mermaid positions. This is easier for people who already are back sleepers. For me, I get really uncomfortable when I sit with my legs pinned straight or when I lay on my back. So it was really hard for me, but it is definitely worth it. It sped up my recovery a lot. It's a really good position for healing. My midwife recommended it to me. I don't know if the hospitals recommend it when you give a natural birth at the hospitals, if the nurses tell you any advice or anything like that, but that's what my midwife told me. The second thing is drink lots of water and pee regularly. So a lot of people don't like to pee regularly because obviously sometimes when you tear, it stings when you pee. So a lot of people don't want to pee because it hurts. Peeing is extremely important, and drinking a lot of water is really important. So you just went through a trauma, so you're probably dehydrated, you probably weren't drinking through it, and depending on how long your birth was, that could be leading to like dehydration. So you want to keep up with fluids. Also, it's going to help your milk supply come in if you drink lots of fluids. So this is what my midwife told me. But your uterus and your bladder are kind of competing with each other. You want to constantly be drinking water to flush out your system, so it stretches the bladder and then also contracts. And that way your uterus is kind of coming down, if that makes sense, like it's shrinking down. It'll help reduce like bleeding, and obviously it'll make sure your kidneys are working, filtering out everything that it should. It'll also be cleaning the area when you pee, even though it does sting. You can use peri bottles to help you depending on where the stitches are, but drinking lots of water and peeing regularly are very important. To go hand in hand with the drinking, number 3 is don't drink cold drinks and don't have cold foods. So this one is based on my experience from going to my acupuncturist, who is obviously not in Western medicine, more Eastern. She's from Taiwan, and she was telling me some stories about if you gave birth when you're in Taiwan and traditions that we'll have down there. Having cold drinks and cold food does not help your body when you're healing from a massive trauma. Cold drinks, it's like you're jumping into a cold lake every single time you take a sip. So your body is more worried about bringing your temperature back up to homeostasis than it is healing or resting or digesting or doing anything that the body needs to do. Now you're adding temperature onto that. That'll be the first thing that it wants to do, is bring your temperature back up. So keeping your drinks warm, room temperature, will help you heal a lot quicker because your body won't be so concerned about bringing your temperature back up. Same thing with foods. Foods, if you're putting cold foods into your digestive system will want to bring your temperature back up, and it won't be breaking down the food as efficiently as it could be. When you're healing from a traumatic state, you want all your energy going towards healing. And especially since you just had a baby, your body is worried about producing milk. Your body is worried about healing and having enough sleep, because you just went through a whole experience of not sleeping and being really deprived of energy. So those are 3 things that it wants to focus on, and if it's focusing on bringing up your temperature, you'll have a harder time. Number 4 is kind of after you get home. I was already home, but if you have a hospital birth, you want to sleep when baby sleeps. And I know that a lot of people joke around like all on Instagram, and it's like, don't tell me to sleep when the baby sleeps because there's stuff that needs to get done. Yes, there's stuff that needs to get done, but in the first couple weeks, I would say probably the first 3 weeks, if you have people around you that can help you, get them to help you, because you don't need to worry about doing the dishes. You don't need to worry about doing the laundry, or you shouldn't. You should have a partner with you, or if you're single, mother, or like a sister or a friend, somebody to come and help so you can get those things done, because you want as much sleep as possible. The more sleep you get, the better your production of milk will be, the better your healing, the faster your healing will be. You need sleep. Like, sleep is so important for your mental state as well. And when you just went through birth, you're gonna go through a period called baby blues, potentially. And then some people also get postpartum depression. Now, sleep correlates a lot with those things, as well as hormones, but you need sleep to battle that. Also, your baby's going to be crying a lot, and sometimes that can really mess with your headspace, and when you're tired, it gets worse. So when your baby sleeps, buy a good sleep mask so you can sleep during the day when they're sleeping, or buy blackout curtains, like do something so you can sleep when they sleep. This is what I did, is sleep when they sleep, but every second nap, use that time to quickly do the dishes, or to quickly have a shower, or to quickly do something. So then you're sleeping every second time they sleep, because they sleep a lot, but they sleep for short amounts of time. If you do wanna get in some chores or whatever, that's what I would recommend. Number 5, I found, don't use your abs. So when you go through a traumatic birth, or just birth in general, sometimes your muscles are really sore. Also, your abs are starting to come back. I wouldn't recommend using them. I would still do like the rolling off the bed method that they tell you to do when you're pregnant. I wouldn't use your abs as much, because you use your abs to lift you, you're still using your pelvic floor, and your pelvic floor, you just pushed out a baby, and so your pelvic floor is sore. It needs time to come back. If you overwork yourself and overwork your pelvic floor, you can experience things like incontinence. You can experience things like increased bleeding. I'll just say it, this is part of number 8, but when you overwork yourself, you will notice that you might start bleeding more. Your flow might be more heavy if you started slowing down, and then now you're overexerting yourself, you're going for walks, you're doing chores around the house, whatever, and you start bleeding more. It's because your body's telling you, hey, we're not quite healed yet, and maybe you should take time. You don't want to bleed when, obviously there's postpartum bleeding, but you don't want to increase it, because your body is trying to heal, you're just making it worse. And also, if you stop bleeding and then overexert yourself and start bleeding again, you're gonna be really, really tired. A lot of that energy is gonna be wasted from your flow. And then also, a lot of energy goes into making breast milk. So if you're breastfeeding, your body's already concerned about breastfeeding and not as much on you. And then now you started bleeding again, and so now it's even more energy being lost. So you just want to take your time and make sure that you're 100% good before exerting yourself and doing things. So that includes obviously using your abs and everything like that. Number 6 is keep Tylenol and Advil on hand. Tylenol, especially if you get stitches. I use Tylenol and Advil together, I believe, if I remember correctly, and my midwife said it was okay. It really, really helps to just take care of the pain. You don't really need anything more than that. You really shouldn't. I had 3 to 4 stitches and I didn't need anything more than that. You do experience some cramping when your uterus is going back to the size before you got pregnant. So the Tylenol kind of takes care of that. Also, headaches can happen too. I had really bad headaches, and it doesn't help when you have a crying baby either. So just keep those on hand just in case you need them. Especially for the US people, I'm pretty sure that you have to pay for Tylenol and Advil at the hospitals. I don't know about that. I'm not 100% sure. I know in Canada, everything's free for us, or most things are free for us. So if you're going to the hospital and you're in the US, I would pack Tylenol and Advil and then just ask your doctor before they leave the room and be like, hey, is it okay if I use these together? Or what's the dosage, whatever. Number 7 is eat easily digestible foods. So again, this is kind of like the cold drink one. It's more on the eastern side of medicine. When you eat easily digestible foods, you're not putting as much energy into digesting, like soups. So hot soups, easy things to digest. Rice is really good because it helps relieve toxins from your body. And when you eat soups, your body isn't focused so much on breaking down the food. It can flush it through your system easily, and you can still get a lot of really, really good nutrients. If you are not vegetarian or vegan, bone broth is really, really good for increasing milk supply, and also there's a lot of nutrition in bone broth that is really good for like electrolytes and replenishment of lots of different things in your body. So adding that to soups is really, really good. Number 8 was the don't overwork yourself. Number 9, this is a tip that I learned. If you start bleeding again, so after you finish your postpartum and let's say you do overexert yourself, because it's very easy to do that and it's hard knowing when your limits are there. If you do start bleeding again or even get your period while breastfeeding, go to an acupuncturist. That would be my advice, because acupuncturists can actually stop your bleeding. If you get your period during breastfeeding, you're gonna be super tired because you're losing energy through your period and you're losing energy through breastfeeding. It's just so much on your body. So they can actually stop your period or bleeding in general. They are magic. Acupuncturists can actually do a lot of stuff, like even if your milk supply is diminishing for some reason, they can help you get more milk. If you have too much milk and you're constantly engorged, you can also go to the acupuncturist to slow down your milk supply. I know it's not really conventional, but it works. Like, I swear by them. Number 10. So this one is also on the non-conventional side, and something that people don't really think about, especially here in Canada. It's very cold, so it's kind of like our way of living where we just don't notice the cold that much. Just stay warm. Reduce hair washing. Take baths instead of showers, and don't frequently wash your hair. I know it sounds weird. When you take a shower and you turn off the water, your body gets cold because you're wet. And especially since your hair is wet, because you lose a lot of heat through your head. If you're going to take a shower, use a hair cap thing. Don't wash your hair as often. You don't need to. You're at home, put your hair in a bun, man. Like, you don't need to wash your hair as often. Yeah, take a bath instead of shower. Reduces the whole transition from being in and out of a steamy shower. And then usually when you take a bath, the curtains are open, so you'll get cold less. And also stay inside, so even the slightest breeze, and if you're all bundled up, whatever, if it's cold outside, try to stay inside. Your body, again, when you get cold like this, when your hair is wet, when you go out in the winter time, or even in the fall time when it's windy, your body is going to be more concerned about staying in homeostasis, which means staying in the same temperature as your normal body would be, instead of healing your body. That is the advice that I got from my acupuncturist as well. So it's kind of more Eastern mentality, but it does help. Number 11 is, this one's a mental state one. I obviously have not experienced postpartum depression. I've experienced baby blues though, and they are really, really hard. And the thing that helped me is taking some time, even if it's 5 minutes, to do your nails, brush your hair, put some mascara on, even coloring, like therapeutic if you like crafting, even getting out like your coloring supplies and coloring one page while your baby's content beside you, taking a bath, a relaxing bath, lighting candles. If you want to eat a chocolate bar in the closet for yourself, like go and do that. Like whatever makes you feel energized and a little bit more like yourself. Just something that you have found that makes you feel more like yourself. That is super important, even if it's just 5 minutes. And I would recommend doing it every couple days. If you can do it every day, that would be awesome, but try to do something every second day for yourself. Days go by really quick when you have newborn babies because you're sleeping when they're sleeping and you're worried about them. So time can really escape from you. So I would say if you can do it every 2 days, do it, but do something for yourself. Number 12 is if you have family, friends, or any support system. So if you went to a prenatal group, if you got a doula, they can connect you to people. If you have a virtual group, if you FaceTime, like whatever, if you have family, ask them to help you, to cook, to clean, to even hold your baby for 15 minutes while you shower or while you vacuum. Like, ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. A lot of people, especially in our society, it's just like expected that the moms are just gonna do everything. That's not the way that it used to be. It used to be like, it literally took a village. So get your own village. Be like, here's my baby. Like, just pass on your baby and go do what you need to do. And people want to help. So don't be afraid to ask for that help because people love helping. Number 13, feel free to tell visitors to leave so you can sleep, breastfeed, be with your baby, whatever. When people come over to visit, sometimes they may stay longer than you want them to. They should be staying like max 20 minutes in my opinion, unless you're helping them do something, like unless you're cooking for them or cleaning for them or whatever. But just to meet the baby and mingle, like don't stay more than 20-30 minutes because that mama has to breastfeed her baby. If the baby starts to fall asleep, she's supposed to be sleeping when the baby sleeps, and now you're interrupting her sleep. Get out of there, and if you're a mama, tell them to leave. Be like, okay, well, I'm trying to set a routine, and right now my routine is to go to sleep when the baby sleeps, so if you don't mind, we can catch up another time or whatever. It's really important to set a breastfeeding schedule as well if you're breastfeeding. So having to breastfeed in public, like with someone around you, is sometimes people don't want to do that. They just want to whip out their boob and be half naked by themselves. You are in control. It's your baby. It's your time. They can come back. And then the last one, try to organize your house so you can stay on one floor. This is easier when you have an apartment, obviously, or a bungalow. If you have a 2-story, hopefully you have a partner to help you, but you want to try to organize your house before you give birth so you can stay on a single floor, because the stairs will not help you with your bleeding. It might be overexerting yourself just to going upstairs or downstairs to get food or anything like that. You might start bleeding more. Your pelvis moves differently when you go upstairs. So you want to keep it as neutral as possible. Also, it's more work. Those are all the postpartum tips that I have for natural births so far. I probably will do another one of these videos if I have a C-section. But for now, this one's just for natural birth. And I hope you guys like this video. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for more and upcoming videos. Follow me on Instagram as well to see our life and all the cute pictures that we're gonna have of our twins. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you later.